Well, hello everybody. Just gonna do a little video today. Tell you what, we've had crazy weather here in the deserts of eastern Utah. It has snowed. I don't know if we got any records going on, but it snowed most of the night. It snowed several times. And I'll tell you, it's hard for me to get interested in going out in the shooting range in the snow, but today I decided was gonna do some shooting. So I got an interesting gun today, I'm gonna share with you guys. This is a Sako Finnbear. They call it the L61R. I looked up the serial number on this gun. I think it was made in the mid 60s, 65, I'm gonna guess. Really interesting. This gun started out life as a 30-06, and someone along the lines rechambered it to what it's stamped on the barrel, and the reloading dies I got with it is a 30 Newton belted. I think essentially it is a 338 Win Mag, neck down to 30 caliber. The difference between that and a 300 Win Mag is essentially nothing. I think these come along before the 300 Win Mag. I should have my history better, but I think 300s come out in the mid to late 60s, and usually it takes a few years for them to catch on. So I've read a lot about this 30 belted Newton. I think that it had a little bit of popularity at one time. Of course, when the 300 Win Mag hit the shelves of the sporting goods stores, nobody's interested in rechambering any of these, but into that caliber. Got the reloading stuff with it. What I'm shooting today is 180 grain Hornady spider points, just plain Jane bullets. I got some ammo with the gun, so we're just doing some sighting in, but it's interesting. Beautiful gun, beautiful wood. It's in great condition, you know, for being a 50-plus-year-old gun. What's interesting about it, it has a Weaver V-8 scope on it. So if you look at the scope, there's no adjustments. The way you do it, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there's a screw right there. Same on the other side for elevation. And then the crosshairs, I'll try to get the camera to show you guys the crosshairs on it. It has 3 sets of crosshairs going vertically and horizontally. And so I've been shooting it a little bit. We're gonna shoot it here in a minute. But with the bottom set of crosshairs, it's about 2 inches high at 100. So for a hunting setup, you know, I've been debating whether to put a modern scope on this gun and, you know, set it up just for a great hunting rifle. But I don't know, the nostalgia of that old Weaver kind of has me interested in just leaving it the way it is. You know, I'm not going to take this rifle out and go bang 1,000-yard gongs with it. It's just, you know, do a little bit of hunting with this, shoot it very moderately. I mean, it might see a few hundred rounds over the rest of my lifetime, but there's something neat about the nostalgia of that old scope, though. I looked them up. They were probably the hot item in the late 60s. That was probably the latest and greatest of scopes in that time frame. Of course, anybody in the shooting world knows that our optics in the last 10 to 20 years have just made leaps and bounds. I mean, guys my age, you know, they remember if you had a Burris 3-9, man, you had something. All of our dads hunted with either fixed 4 powers or maybe a fixed 6, but yeah, 3-9s, boy, you know, even in the 80s, that was pretty neat if you had one of those. But anyway, that's the modern glass deal. We're gonna shoot this a few times today. It seems to be shooting all right. It was shooting to the right. I've been playing with it here. I think I've got it dialed in, so it's interesting. Just after a few shots, boy, that old barrel gets hot. I haven't chronographed these, but I'm guessing that 180 grain bullet's going in the neighborhood of 3,100. Pretty serious hunting around there. So anyway, we'll take a few shots with it and go see what it'll do. All right, guys, here we go. This is the Sako Finnbear in a 30 belted Newton or a 30 338 Win Mag. All right, guys, let's walk up and have a look at that group. All right, guys, well, that's a beautiful group. I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you guys what we got. All right guys, so these are the 3 shots. You guys know I use my finger as a measuring stick. That's a sub 1 inch group. That's about a 3/4 of an inch group. For a 50-plus-year-old gun, 50-plus-year-old scope, that's awesome. This was my point of aim. So it's shooting about 2 inches to the right, or excuse me, to the left. That's gonna be hard to move. I'll take you guys along with me and we'll see if we can get this thing zeroed, but it's gonna take, I think, a little bit of trial and error to get her going. We'll give those guys a mark, and then we'll show you what else we got. All these other holes were from other projects, so this is what we're working with today. Okay guys, I'm gonna try to adjust that scope a little bit. I have my very delicate side adjustment tool here, and we'll see what we can do. So that baby is shooting a little bit left. So I think the way I gotta do it is move the rear of the scope to the right. So we're gonna see how that goes. So the scopes, I showed you guys those screws, so I'm gonna adjust. I'm just gonna go maybe 1/8 of a turn or less on this right screw loosing, and then tighten the left-hand side. So I hope that works. I've never used a piece of equipment like this before. So I think the way we're essentially doing it is moving the scope to where the gun's shooting. So if the gun is shooting to the left, the scope is aiming to the right. I think you got to move the back of the scope to the right. I don't know. Take you guys along. We'll see what'll work. All right, guys, I can see through the scope that it moved to the right just a little bit. I think I'm gonna shoot one more and see what it looks like. All right, guys, we'll walk up and look at it, but that second shot was about maybe an inch or so to the right from the first shot. I'm gonna shoot one more. If that is anywhere close, I think I'm gonna be done monkeying with it. I don't have a lot of ammo for it, and these shells, if the notes are correct, were loaded in 1990. So I'm gonna have to kind of develop my own load for this. I'm hoping I can just recreate this one, and we'll see what we can do, but we'll shoot one more. All right, guys, we're gonna walk up and have a look. I can tell you that group wasn't as good, but I don't know if it's worth messing around with moving the sights anymore. So we'll go up and have a look. All right, guys, well, my group's not that great. This was my first 3. These are my next 1, 2, 3. That's a couple inches. So I moved the sight, and I believe point of impact has moved, and it's close enough. I am not gonna monkey around with it. So just the gun will shoot. That's me. There's no question about it. This group here was my first 3 shots before I started doing the video. Just wanted to see where it was at. You know, that's an inch group there. Shot sub 1 inch group right there. This is me, but I think the point of impact has moved. I am not going to monkey with them sights anymore. Or excuse me, the scope. All right, guys, well, I don't have a lot of ammo for this. This gun is shooting just fine. I hate to admit this, I am the biggest wimp in the world when it comes to recoil. And this old kid's got a little recoil to it. And that last group being off just a little bit might be just me flinching a little. What's interesting though, and I'm gonna shoot one more group with it and take you guys and show you guys, but there's a bunch of round nose bullets. These are, I believe, 180 grain round nose Hornady interlocks. I read an article, can't remember, recently in one of the gun magazines, that a guy took a 308 with 180 grain round noses to Africa and killed all the plains game. And the point was that, you know, we get tied up in all of this, you know, burger VLDs, and I mean the bullet technologies went just absolutely crazy with all of these super high ballistic coefficient, long range, boat tails, all this stuff, which is all great. I mean, I'm not saying anything against it, but I think what the guy's point was by going to Africa with round nose bullets, saying these good old round noses for hunting game at modern ranges, you can't beat them. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. When I seen that this had some round nose with it, what I'm curious about is point of impact. They could be completely different. I don't know. I have not shot any of these yet, so I'm going to take another 3-shot group. We'll shoot at that same target. Of course, I've marked everything. I'm just curious where the point of impact is, if they're even close. I myself have never loaded round nose bullets other than in 30-30s, and I think they're more flat nose. But anyway, so I thought it was interesting that, you know, back in the day in the 70s and, you know, probably even into the 80s, that round nose bullets were still pretty key players in the hunting world. So probably stuff we shouldn't overlook. I know myself, I'm not sure if I've ever killed a game animal over 300 or 400 yards. Probably the round nose and the right caliber would do a fantastic job at that range. But anyway, we'll take one more shot, or we'll shoot one more set of 3, and we'll see what it looks like. Man, it's amazing how that barrel gets hot, but it cools off pretty fast. And I'm trying to let it cool. You know, it's cold enough now to the touch. It feels warm, but I'm trying to let it cool between each set of 3-shot groups. All right, guys, let's go have a look. All right, guys, I'm gonna flip the camera around. This is actually kind of hard to believe. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. Okay, so we're gonna recap. These were the first 3 shots, right there. Great group. I moved the sights, or keep saying sights because I'm using a screwdriver, but I moved the scope. 1, 2, 3. Not a great group. These are the round nose bullets. I am not sure. Is that 3 holes? It kind of looks like there's 1, 2, 3. I can't see another hole anywhere, and I can't imagine 2 of them going right there and 1 going off the paper. Stranger things have happened, but shoot, guys, I think that's 3 holes. I don't know. It's hard to believe that it's shooting that good, but it loves the round noses, I guess. Okay, guys, so we're thinking this is 3 holes. I'm gonna pull the paper back and see if we can see anything different on the back side. Shoot, guys, I think that's gotta be 3 holes. You guys can see, I think there's a 1, 2, and a 3. That's amazing. All right, guys, well, as we can see, this gun's got a lot of accuracy potential. I don't plan on shooting this old girl to death. I mean, I do want to do some hunting with it. I'm going to have to do some more time with develop some loads, but honestly, I've got enough ammo right now. I wouldn't be scared just to go to the field to go hunting with it. I've got 2 or 3 boxes of ammo left, and shoot, I don't know, depending on how things go between now and hunting season, I may not do anything with it and just shoot this ammo that come with the gun. It's shooting plenty good. I mean, the round nose bullets, point of impact's exactly the same as those others. If that truly is 3 holes that we just looked at, and I think it is, man, under a few hundred yards, that round nose bullet on deer or elk size game would be absolutely devastating. So I think I've got a great little hunt set up. I think I'm going to leave this scope alone. It's just kind of got the neat classic factor to it. Yeah, anybody can go, you know, put a $high modern scope on it and have a great gun. But shoot, I don't know. I think it's kind of fun the way it is, so I think we're going to leave it alone. I'm going to grab the camera. I've never done this before, but I want to show you guys a reticle on this scope. It is very unusual. I've never seen anything like it. What I'm using is, if I can get it in there, I'll show you guys. I'm using the bottom set of crosshairs, and I think that'll make sense once I flip the camera around. All right, guys, this is very difficult to get these crosshairs in the scope or in the camera, but you can barely see right there that there's multiple set of crosshairs in there, and I'm using the bottom set. And it's a little confusing when you first look at it, but you know what? I think I can figure it out and keep it working. So I think I'm going to leave this alone. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap up the video for today. Leave some comments on these Sakos. I don't have any experience with them. You know, when I was a kid growing up, there were some people around that shot Sakos, but they were so expensive in those days compared to anything else. Sako's still a big name. I actually watched a YouTube video recently about their factory, and I mean, they are still a big player in the bolt action rifle world right now. You know, they've got a brand that I think is Tika, that is the same as a Sako. I don't know what's the difference. Who knows, corporate America stuff. But anyway, I'm real excited about this rifle. It's really got a classic feel to it. The trigger is absolutely exquisite on this. This baby is the Ferrari of bolt action rifles. So I'm real tickled with it. We're just gonna have some fun with it. So anyway, please leave some comments if you got any experience with the Sakos or the 338 caliber. Like I said earlier in the video, that this is labeled 30 Newton belted, but all the research I've done on this is the 338 Win Mag is exactly the same cartridge. 308 Norma Mag. They're saying that they're essentially, all 3 of those labels are the same cartridge. I've got a couple old reloading manuals that have data for them. I've got some that's got data for 308 Norma Mag and some that's got data for 338 Win Mag. So I've got data for it. I'll be able to keep the gun running, do some hunting with it, so I'm real excited about it. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching. Please subscribe.